You are entering the cosmos.
One, two, stop. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3 into the 4. T. Cheshire's on the mic. Vic Carenti's at the door. Stop. Welcome to episode 3 in the place to be of Burn It Down. Welcome to TCB Studios. Want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Kelly's Death Pickles. I want to give a special shout out and thank you to our guest last week, Dan Falkenthal. We are still getting messages from him. What a wonderful conversation. Want to give a huge shout out to Jonathan and Renée behind the scenes at Cosmos Creative TV. But the biggest shout out of all I want to give is to my niece, Colette Sosa, for graduating high school. I love you, and I'm so proud of you. If my sister Lori is watching, please let her know her cool uncle is giving her a shout out right now. I'll see you soon. So much love. Sometimes we have these big intros that we need to talk about these people that we are going to be talking to, our guests. But this person, we have so much to tackle. So I'm just going to say a few things about him. He's an athlete, a guitar player, a singer, songwriter, a chef, a carpenter, mountain biker, father, editor, edited my first book. We're going to get into that. Scriptwriter, master ice cream maker, playwright, comedian, professional rugby player, awesome human, one of the smartest men that I know. My brother since 1994. Ladies and gentlemen, DJ iPod, a.k.a. Vic Carenti, a.k.a. Mike Shina.
Oh, man. Dear God.
Man, I'm giving you a shout out right now, sir. Cheers to you on that. I hope those few words, which all of them are 100% true, didn't make you blush, just made you feel good. Because I feel that way about all those things. But most of all, it's funny because we have been brothers for so long now, since 1994. And the fun thing about having your own show is you get to have these guests that you had shared so much history with, rich history, ups and downs and all arounds. So I started taking some notes. We met in around November of 1994, which is, I thought it was 30 years, but it's close, 28 years. But the funny thing is think about that, pre-internet, pre-cell phones. I was friends with Tal from the Pie Tasters, and you were friends with him from playing rugby. Went to his house to play some music, and we jammed. And for some reason or another, I guess we connected. You just said, here, I'm going to be in Florida in a few weeks. Florida, this ginormous place, and wrote down the phone number of the place you're going to be staying. So if that was November 1994, around Christmas, 3 weeks later, I called from a payphone at the beach. I forget what town I was in, but clearly several hours away. I called the landline. I said, is Mike there? And this lady goes, who's this? They're like, tell him it's Tom. You pick up, and I go, hey, man, it's Tom. And you go, Tom who? And I go, it's Tom Cheshire. We met a few weeks ago at Tal's house. We played some music. I think we did a Misfits cover and a Ramones song. Like, insanity.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, no, what was crazier is, it's funny. I think I remember something better than you. You guys were trying to sleep on the beach. You drove down.
We were sleeping on the beach, and a police officer kindly took his flashlight to my head and said, "What's wrong with you guys?" And I said, "Oh, I have a place we could sleep. Let me call my friend Mike that I just met." Yeah. You were like 7 hours away. Very smart.
We had a blast. That was a good time. Somewhere there's some like real photographs of that, because again, that was pre-internet, pre-digital cameras. Just the fact that that was crazy.
It was insanity, but like a friendship and a bond and a brotherhood was born, because I was born like immediately, because I moved from from Queens, New York, and you moved from Boston, Massachusetts, and we both were searching for something, and we jammed a little bit, and we played one really, really great show, you know,
Right.
which should have led to more, but that it was on hold for a while, you know. And that's the thing I was thinking about. I was like, well, then I started playing with Brian and Rob Kinchlow and the Scats, and I go see Shay McGowan and the Pope at the Variety Playhouse. And the thing about going to see those shows is everyone's holding each other, everyone's holding a Guinness in the air, singing, dancing, and this beautiful poetry in motion. And like this guy picks me up, and I look at him, and it's you, and you have this glorious, beautiful beard. You know? I had a huge beard. And you're like, what the hell, Tom Cheshire? What's going on? Reconnected again, and then from then on, it was just. Best friends for the next 20 years, but certainly the next few years. Then you helped me edit my first book, Full Time Fool. We formed the Rent Boys, which we put out 3 records with. And there's still more out there, and we're going to get to that as well. There's so much to cover, because I feel sometimes so lucky with my friendships, and especially in art and music, because I feel like we've had 2 or 3 lifetimes sometimes with what we've done and what we've covered, you know. I mean, I remember like when we were doing Rent Boys, like I went to a wedding, and I was very much living in Atlanta. I went to a wedding in New York, and I came back, and I was, well, let's just say I didn't really connect with my friends that I grew up with. And I started writing the words to would become the song Long Time. And I met you, and 5 minutes later, song was written, and you said one of the greatest things ever to me that I still use and say to people in interviews all over the world. And it's you said, don't wrestle with these songs, like, you know, anyone who's trying to work on the song for weeks and they're having problems with it, well, throw that away and maybe just start another one. You're like, Tom, the best songs, they write themselves. And that song we literally wrote, I think, in 3 minutes.
Yeah, we did. And that was over at off of Howell Mill, and that little loft area there.
14th Street and Howell Mill Road. What a magical time, which led to the West End, which went, you know, we were at C11, and which is funny because our friend Evie is now working on a documentary on, is putting out, you know, an actual doc on that time, documenting that time and that place, which was magical because there was a lot of innocence, and then that also led to not so much innocence, but it was a lot of beautiful stuff happening of us discovering ourselves as artists and as humans, and really trying to just be the best people that we can be.
Yeah, man, it was a great little scene going on back then, for sure. I mean, we had the Robustos. Don't forget about the Robustos. What a great that we used to play with, and it's Rob Kinchlow, and we're still friends with Rob. I'm actually living in a building he built right now. It's crazy. Small world. Didn't even know.
How small are these worlds? I started telling you and Marlo this the other day. I'm in this place. Well, we're going to end with that as well. You're playing a rock show with me Friday in Little Rock, Arkansas. But I'm in this place called the Whitewater Tavern. Shout out Whitewater Tavern. Can't wait to play there on Friday night. And this gentleman's showing me these beer bottles. And he's like, oh, this guy was a legend. He opened up the bar. He passed away at this age, and these are his ashes. This guy, he used to be a great blues player. He passed away in that Miller Lite bottle. Those are his ashes. And I'm like, boy, that's haunting and beautiful and creepy all together, you know. And then he points to a bottle. He goes, oh, that belongs to this gentleman. And you know the person's name. And I said, oh, I know Derek, you know. And I said, I played his bachelor party. The guy's like, what are you talking about? And I go, my first album that I put out under the name Rent Boys, he's on the cover of. He asked me to perform in like 1997 at his bachelor party. So basically, there's a picture of him in a chair with maybe his shirt off and beautiful ladies dancing in front of him and us behind him singing Rent Boys songs. And it's amazing that there's this common theme that happens with us, and it makes you realize that the rock and roll community is small. Absolutely. And if you're good and you connect with people, it always comes back to you. I mean, it was really haunting, you know, and I was like, well, Derek was a wonderful guy. He was such a sweet person. I was so honored that he asked me to play his bachelor party. And, you know, we loved that we had him included on our first album cover.
Yeah.
An evening with the Rent Boys.
The whole album cover was from that party, actually.
The whole album cover was basically
the negative strip.
Us unattractive men in the background, him in the front, and he was beautiful, and a bunch of beautiful women around him.
Well, I got to say, because I've been lucky enough to travel, you know, back and forth, up and down across the country with you, and it's just been, I don't know, man. We meet just the best people, and it's like the love of music that brings everybody together, and it's like,
yes,
it's just unreal. It's like, I mean, it's, you know, me and you, it's so funny because it's like when we get on the road, it's like Michael Landon, Highway to Heaven.
Oh my goodness.
I don't even know how this stuff happens, but
it's like Little House on the Prairie meets Highway to Heaven. Because I was going to talk about us, because for a minute, when we were in Denver, we helped, I'm pretty sure we saved a few homeless men's lives who were freezing that we met in Denver one day. I think I bought this guy some deodorant and toothpaste and a small bottle of whiskey and said, here's a few more extra bucks, find a place that's warm. And he was like, he just looked at me, his eyes, he goes, are you an angel that was sent here to save me tonight? And I said, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But the thing that's so wonderful about because music is magic and it is so powerful. And the older I get, it's still even more and more, it surprises me and rearranges me and changes me. Because I remember you were playing rugby in South Africa, and you said that you saw like this little boy, like 7 years old, wearing a Pogue shirt. And it just gave me chills. And you're like, Tom, here's the Pogues, who's like my favorite band ever. Like, again, poetry in motion. And here's this little kid who does not know who the Pogues are, but somewhere in the village, they had used clothing, and this kid is wearing this Pogue shirt. It's like the most amazing thing and the most amazing reminders that we're constantly being reminded that there's magic out there. There's stuff that can make us feel better. And if we stick together and try to do good things, like wonderful things happen. And a lot of good things happen at shows. And like, you know, us doing charities and stuff and playing shows to raise money to help people. Mm-hmm. It's all wonderful.
Yeah. You know, it's what I've really enjoyed about getting older is like, especially like now with everything being available, like you can listen to things that you only read about 30 years ago. It's just like, just revisiting things like all these new like anniversary editions and stuff like that. Like I've been listening to Criminal Minded, the 35th anniversary, nonstop for 2 weeks.
Boogie Down Productions.
Shout out. Shit.
Well, the funny thing is because our view from the beginning, or I should say your view, and you've had you had this wonderful like vision. You were like, I want to bring the party like a rap group like Public Enemy and the Beastie Boys, but I also want like this lyrical content to be like the Pogues and Tom Waits, and I want to tell these beautiful stories, but I don't want to take ourselves too seriously. If you want to jump around and get crazy like Flavor Flav on stage, please go ahead and do that because. And we always said that because I remember I used to say when you and I first started playing was, if someone comes up to me that's not a friend of mine mm-hmm. or a friend of mine, that I've never met before and says, oh my goodness, that was wonderful. Thank you. I always look at it as, well, then my job's done. My job's done. We did a great job tonight.
Yeah. It's been funny, man. Some of the most amazing like experiences have been some of the smaller shows and some of the
without a doubt.
Like some of the places that you never thought you'd be, and it's just the best, man. Playing music,
it's the best. Well, I was telling one of the gentlemen behind the scenes, Jonathan, on an interview not too long ago about us playing a church, and you might explain it better, but let's just say you can't make this stuff up. It really did happen.
Yeah. We're playing. We're playing The Point. Actually, we had the Proto Black Lips playing with us, the Renegades.
That's right.
And you and I went out to our church, and they had a child bikini contest before we
Disturbing. Yeah, they called it a praise explosion and said, "Will you sing some songs at my church?" I said, "I'd love to. I'm not I think I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not religious. I'd love to help you out." To this female Baptist preacher, she was a very sweet lady. But then she's like, "Before then, you're going to be one of the judges in the bikini contest." And next thing you know, I'm wearing like Dickies high waters, which I still wear, and I'm on stage next to like 4 older gentlemen, and I'm like, I like number 2. I think number 2. I like number 2.
So we don't know any praise songs. We don't know any real.
Yeah, number 3 looks good. And I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, what's going on?
By Tom Waits and with the church band, and we killed it. It was fucking.
That's right, and we did Tom Waits' Time, and this is what I was telling Jonathan about. And after the set, she comes up to me and she's like, "That was beautiful." And then she grabs me and she goes, "But you and I both know those songs had nothing to do with the Lord."
Not at all. Yeah, I mean, it's so bizarre, man. We just so many great memories, like going up to New York, playing Kevin St. James, and those guys from
unbelievable. You know, it's so funny because there's still so many things yet to discuss with that first summer. You know, we met Joe Strummer, and I posted a picture of you with Joe earlier, and that was unbelievable. And like sometimes you're pitching yourself, you know, and Joe's asking us like, what songs?
Oh, dude, I wrote in Joe Strummer's little black book, and then so what's so crazy, right? So it's like, okay, we're going on our first tour. We're all huge Clash fans. Marlo's got a Clash tattoo on his arm.
That's right.
Okay, so we play. I don't even remember. We're supposed to play in DC, and it's like, oh, Joe Strummer's playing at it. So we said, fuck it, we'll go to Joe Strummer.
At the legendary 930 Club. Yes.
Yeah, right. At the 930. So then it's like, I'm like, well, fuck it. I look at Marlo, I go, Marlo, there's nobody wants to hang out with Joe Strummer more than me and you. Let's fucking go back there and see stuff. So
that's right.
Walk back there and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" We're like, "Good. Hey, we're on tour. Blah blah blah." I'm like, "Can we bring the rest of our band?" They're like, "Yeah." So
it was like a reggae music with like just pop smoke. And
I had not smoked weed since I was like 19. I think I was 28 at that time. And Joe Strummer's like, "You want to smoke some weed?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, let's smoke some weed." Joe
yeah. You're not gonna say no to. You're not gonna say no. To and he was a nice dude and wanted us to play with him the next day in New York.
And so that was awesome. So we got, you know, that was just magical. Just absolutely magical. And
so magical because the next night we go I remember, you know, going to that show and like the guest list is like, you know, Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese, Joey Ramone. I met Joey Ramone.
Who's the big man?
Phenomenal.
Something about Mary.
Yeah, that's right. And we play that show right in Hell's Kitchen, I think on 46th and 8th. And at one point we're playing and you just look at me and it's like 127 degrees, you know. And at one point you just look at me and you go, I think I'm standing like on a speaker singing, and you go, turn around, and turn around, and literally it seemed like half of Times Square is behind us in the class just watching.
Amazing.
Like, you can't make this stuff up. And like, what the heck? And that's the other insane thing about music and your times. And I only remember the good stuff now, but I remember like a few weeks later, we're talking, you know, and we're trying to put out this next record, and we had some interest, and you're like, was that all a dream? Because it was 112 degrees yesterday, and I was digging a ditch.
Yeah. The Monday we came back from tour, I dug a 110-foot long by 16-inch ditch to like run a wire to somebody's garage.
You're like, was I hanging out with Joe Strummer the other night? And Robert De Niro was right over there. Yeah, so life can be brutal and cruel, but it could also be beautiful. Yeah, but the thing is, you know, for me, time, and everyone's so different, but I know as a writer and also, like, I just try to be a better human every day and a better artist and musician every day. And I know you feel you are the same way. We're both cut from the same cloth. So it's up to you how you take things, you know? And I know for me, like, time, I look at it as a gift, and it's been nothing but good to me. So I only remember the good times. And like, I remember you even saying like, well, trust me, Tom, if something great would happen with that band, one of us would have died.
Oh yeah. Success. Here's the deal, man. And that's what, I mean, without a doubt we everything works out the way it needs to work out.
Everything does work out.
I've known you for a long time, and this is the best Tom Cheshire I've ever known.
Oh man, you're so amazing. And we're gonna get into more of that. I do feel like I need to give a shout out actually to Tal Bear and Steve Jackson and to my friend Todd Eckhart, rest in peace. Because they were so instrumental in helping us with a lot of these things. And that's one of the beautiful things about
I'd like to take a second to thank Tal. I mean, I met Tal on the rugby pitch. Funny, he was like, hey, we started talking. He's like, you like music? I'm like, yeah, and I like music. He's like, you play an instrument? I'm like, yeah, I play a little guitar, And he's like, cool, you want to play sometime? I'm like, yeah. So we, I go to his place and I see a mattress in the laundry room. I'm like, what the hell's that? He's like, this guy Tom, he rents the laundry room from us. I'm like,
right.
He rents the laundry room? He's like, yeah, laundry room.
It's crazy New York. It's crazy New Yorker rents the laundry room.
So, anywho, yeah. So you rented the laundry room in that house, and by the way, you paid an exorbitant fee for that laundry room.
Yeah. Now I'd like to say F you, Tal. No, I'm kidding. You're ripping me off. But no, I mean, everyone was so everyone, but that's the other thing I always try to talk about when I do this show. It's like, why are we attracted to each other? Because we love the same things and we hate the same things. We have the same goals and the same common interests and want the same things for people. And so we try to do good. People try to do good by us. And there were such magical times, and that's what I was going to get into on even further than that. A few years later, I started West End Motel, and you got involved in that with me, and wonderful songs that again pretty much wrote themselves. I mean, I remember "She's on Fire," literally just the idea of the lyrics on a train in New York. And we finished it in minutes at my house.
Oh, minutes. I played the piano riff and you ran into the kitchen, and 5 minutes later that song was done.
Yeah, and then Devil Called Me Tommy, and I like it a lot. And Up in Smoke, we had what you would call an all-night session.
We had a sesh.
We had a sesh. We had a sesh at the Space. And the next morning, I think you even recorded them when I passed out on the couch.
I recorded the whole.
You're like, here they are.
And then it was like transcribing, like, okay, this goes here and this goes here.
What were you saying?
Great lyrics and funny too, man. They're just joyful. They're joyful freaking songs. And let me tell you.
I remember when we realized that there was things were sardonic and sarcastic, and it's like my favorite poets and storytellers and writers and filmmakers, they hit the crotch and they hit you in the gut, but they also have no problem making fun of themselves. And
Tom, there's the lyric, drank a bottle of gin with my old man. He taught me how to swim and to run away from my problems.
Very proud.
Hilarious.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
It's Steve too. Sorry, Frankie Cutlass.
Well, I remember Stiff Penalty was like, did your dad really teach you that? I was like, I don't even remember anymore.
It's hilarious. So with West End, when we did our first tour or whatever, one of our first tours up to New York and back or whatever. And it was like, for some reason, all our moms came in. We're like freaking grown. Yeah. We're like, I'm 40s. I'm like 40. You're like, we're all in our 40s. It's so funny. So we end all our shows. We do Last Caress by the Caress. I got something to say. Your mother today. Right. It's like, Last Caress. My mom, your mom, Ben's mom. It's like, oh God.
They're like, did he just say your mother today? Yes. Oh man, so but funny. Everyone got it and everyone laughed. And that's the amazing thing about it, because what's really awesome is all of the stuff comes full circle. That intro that I had about you, I cut it in half. But I got to the gist of it, just saying wonderful things about you, but also that you've been my brother for this long and that we share the ups and downs. And sometimes, let's say in the beginning, we had less responsibilities in the mid 90s. We literally spent summers together every day and night, and it was brilliant, And then, sometimes you don't see each other for a few years. I mean, that doesn't mean you don't call each other and love each other. Yeah. But But the other thing is how things have come full circle again with TCB because John Phipps mentioned earlier how much you and I jamming when I was at that house last summer during the pandemic doing BLT live streams. How much he's like, man, you guys are grooving, you guys saved the day, and I'm like, man, well, thank you so much. And I'm like, well, that's TCB, me, Mike Shina, and now Stiff Penalty, and you can call it Tom Cheshire Band, taking care of business. You could call it totally cool, broski. Whatever, whatever you want.
TCB is my favorite band of all time.
We have the time of our lives, and the other cool thing is there's no rules. So we're going back and revisiting Mr. Champ, take the place. Songs that we wrote when we were teens, a few of the West End songs, and then that's what I want to say. Coming soon, New York Waltz, like new songs, from us, and it's been just like it's been the ride of our lives. And I was telling the people behind the scenes, you and I really could go for 2 hours. There's so many other things you've done, so many great things. When I mentioned you being, a carpenter, you're a master builder, and I even told Renée, I was like, he was on Extreme Makeover. This man has done everything. He's worn every hat, and all of it, it's like, all of it has just been nothing but a joy. And it's like, even the hard times, still a joy. And it's great to watch you and anyone that I care for, that I'm close to, come out on the other end successful.
I appreciate it. And that goes right back to you, my friend. I've known you for a long time. You've overcome some stuff. And, man, I just got to say, you're the hardest working man that I know.
Oh, man.
You're the kind, sweetest man that I know. And I just wish nothing but the best for you. But let me tell you something. I remember this is I don't know, 15 years ago. I was like, not even that, maybe 10 years ago. So with West End, it would be like if we could just get people into we have so much fun practicing when we're all together. Playing
those
music.
are the best shows. Yes.
Yeah. It's just so funny. So now it's like, even like Kimono My House is like the best thing ever, because we can go sit in Stiff Penalty's house, which is the best place to play music, and we can just play music together. And then whoever wants to watch can watch. I think it's like technology. It's so beautiful, man.
It's great, and even the stuff we're doing here, man, with Cosmos Creative TV, I love it. They say if life hands you lemons, make lemonade. We really did, because we basically have said, well, the rules don't even apply right now because the world's shut down. Yeah. Let's just get together and have fun. And basically, that was the whole idea from the beginning, anyway. And we are having so much fun that it's insane, and it's been better than ever. And it reminds you of why you did it anyway, because the stories are hysterical. I was thinking about us when we played in California, and I get the guy from Toto was singing.
Yeah, the Rock and Roll Hotel. Yeah,
the guy from Toto was at a piano in a hotel singing Out of Africa.
Yeah.
And he's about like 4'11", wearing a really bad wig, and I get in the hotel, in the elevator. I start talking to him. He wants nothing to do with me. I was like, man, I love that song about Africa.
This is pre-Weezer too. Like, that song had been forgotten.
He's like, what is wrong with you? I don't even. The next floor is not mine, but I'm getting off.
Yeah.
But and those times are so wonderful. I cherish them. But now, people love to say those were the days. Well, I'm here to say, I have a feeling the people who said those were the days, back on that day, they were complaining, saying 10 years ago, make today your salad days. Make now these your days. Actually make the future, the next 6 months, these are our days.
Yeah, I'm enjoying everything so much. It's so freaking crazy. Like I said, to be able to go back and listen to something that you listened to when you were 17, right?
Yeah.
And it's like to hear it for the first. It's like I'm hearing it for the first time as a 52-year-old man who's had lived an entire lifetime, and it's just it's just the most beautiful thing, man. It is just it's almost like you're brand new again. You have the attitude that you can just look at everything every day as it's new. Just as it's new. Listen to something for the first time. Even if you've heard it a million times, you listen to it for the first time, and it's just mind-blowing, man. It's just awesome. I love it.
I love that. And our viewers
amazing.
watching, I hope you guys are enjoying this. Please listen to Vic Renée, aka DJ iPod, aka my dear friend from Massachusetts. But man, he's just a worldly man. The things this guy has seen. You know, we are going to write a play one day. We're going to get Boots involved. Congratulations to Boots on his new play.
I went to his play.
You know, you find. I know. I want to hear about it. You find these people that you connect with, and you create with. And keep doing it and never stop. You know, I have people ask me like, you know, how do you become successful, you know, as a musician? I'm like, well, I can't tell you that. But I can tell you this. I can tell you this. Do it for the right reason. Do it for the right reasons and never stop. And I mean, we have been fortunate. I mean, there's been, you know, I remember we were on Ben Thrower's outside Asheville and Brevard, his cabin, and you came out and we both were going through some, let's just say, not the best times, and you came out with the song Forgiveness, and we put that song out, and I've had people all over the world say to me some serious stuff they've gone through, that song has saved them.
That's awesome.
So, thank you for doing that. And by the way, that is success. And you looking awesome as successful. And Cosmos Creative TV is killing it. They're successful. TCB is going to be putting out a record. I think we're going to put out a record called Live at Stiff's Kitchen. Live at Stiff's Kitchen. That's right. Was the County Hell Project, man.
Right.
I was talking about the County Hell as well. There's so many other things that I want you to, because County Hell, there's so many beautiful songs. And if you want to do any of those with TCB, I'm down. New York Waltz, I Can't Hold On.
Oh, I can't.
Besides revisiting these old songs, we have these new ones. And I love ending on that and saying, even if it's a song you've listened to a million times, listen to it with different eyes and ears, fresh ears. And just love it.
Listen to it for the first time. Thank you so much, man.
Oh man, my brother. Listen to me. I'll see you in Little Rock.
To Little Rock with you. We're gonna have a blast.
I'll see you in Little Rock. Let's play a rock and roll show this Friday night. Yeah. Thank you guys. Cheers. We'll see you next week. Much love. Love is all around.